And welcome to the election news headquarters. I'm going to now put up the final numbers of the poll of polls on your screen. UPA, NDA overall picture first. UPA 101, NDA 292. This is the poll of polls derived from 4 big polls. The ORG India Times Now News Nation poll, the C Voter poll, the Nielsen ABP poll, and the Chanakya poll, arriving at a mean average of 292, one of the best ever performances of the NDA, backed by a fantastic performance of the BJP. Now I'll tell you the vote share on both sides. The vote share separation, in my view, is the real story, because the number of 36% is fantastic for the NDA, but it will look even better if you extract the UP allies and you realize that somewhere the Congress party is sinking below 20%. In fact, the ORG India poll is predicting, hold your breath, that the Congress party could get between 16 to 17% only. That is unmitigated disaster for Rahul Gandhi. That can't just be a bad communication strategy. It is absolute disaster. So that tells you one story. Now, I'll take you through the seat shares of the Congress and the BJP, because many of you would want to know, as per the poll of polls, which generally, ladies and gentlemen, keep one thing in mind, all these polls are moving roughly in one direction, right? None of the polls are saying the BJP won't form the government. The question is whether the BJP gets 240 or whether the BJP gets 300 plus. But the BJP individually is projected to get 250, and 250 on the basis of a vote share of the BJP, which on the mean average is 28.5%. Now you may think, ladies and gentlemen, that 28.5%, not very much, is it? That's just 28.5% of the voting population in this country. But I'll just give you one statistic. How much did Atal Bihari Vajpayee get in the elections of, for example, 1999, when he did so well? He got 182 seats with a percentage vote share of 23.8%. So Atal Bihari Vajpayee got a converted vote share of 23.8%, whereas Narendra Modi, on an average, will get anywhere between 25, 26, 27, 28, or an average of 28.5%. So in terms of individual BJP performance, and fans of Vajpayee within the BJP may not like it, but Modi would be beating even Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And I don't think that is something which can be completely discounted or not looked at. History will analyze how this was achieved. Cynics will question how it was achieved, but you can't question that it could be achieved. Now, also to sort of summarize the story for the BJP so far, because frankly speaking, there isn't much point is there in talking about the story of the Congress party. You can only talk about how low they've fallen. The BJP has gained 134 seats on an average of 116, being their best performance in 2009, not their best performance, one of their worst performances. In 2009, gain 134. Now, if you believe Chanakya says the BJP individually, just the BJP, would get 291. Many people feel even the BJP internal estimates will say that 291 is impossible. But to have an average of 250 individually for the BJP in a poll of polls, from a fairly conservative 210, 215, 218 figure of ORG India News Nation Times Now, going up to whatever the figure Chanakya is putting, it's a great story as far as the Bhartiya Janata Party is concerned. So I wanted to begin Newshour Super Prime Time today by giving you some sense of the overall numbers, and I'd now like to begin, because what happens when these numbers happen, ladies and gentlemen, politics is never static. Politics changes. And changing with the weather of politics also is the political mood of the country. And I do believe that one of the ways in which you can actually analyze the changing mood of the country is the way in which allies, and by the way, this is the total number. Jay will be with me on the screen. Any quick comments, Jay, on the overall numbers which we've derived in the poll of polls?
Absolutely. Just let's look at the poll of polls. The yellow band on the top, the UPA at 101. Now, this is the lowest, yeah? And the NDA at 292. It's 7 short of the 299 that Vajpayee got in 1999.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Well, thanks very much, Jay. My first guest is Praful Patel, Union Minister. Praful Patel, Senior NCP Union Minister, who is my first guest on the Newshour. Can you hear me, Mr. Patel? Are you with me now? Yes, I'm with you. Mr. Patel, We're waiting for you.
Well, I've been listening to you and numbers which all the polls have been giving out. Well, while I can acknowledge without any hesitation that the BJP will emerge as the largest party in the country, the NDA will be the largest grouping in the country. I just like to give a little, word of caution to all the friends in the BJP and everywhere that please don't, go overboard in rejoicing so early. I'm not denying you your victory, but at the same time, I just want to remind you of what happened in 2004. In the morning before the election results, Pramod Mahajan was on his treadmill and very, optimistically telling the world that, we are forming the government, and by evening the whole scenario had changed. So polls can be wrong, polls can be slightly off the mark, but we are not going to deny them certainly the credit of having emerged as the largest party even before the results are counted. But the fact of the matter is that, you see, all opinion polls, whichever you're mentioning, are on one end of the spectrum to the other, from 250 to 340. That's what a huge band. And
what kind of a spectrum is that? None of those spectrums discount the possibility of the BJP forming the government.
But I myself acknowledged it.
Why were you acknowledging it? And that is something in which, well, Mr. Praful Patel, you are now by now.
No, but I'm also saying.
Are you?
No. I'm also well experienced, Arnab, to see many election results. To only tell the friends that, you see, are they talking of an absolute majority as some of the polls have given them? Your own poll doesn't give them an absolute majority. So why are we, all I'm trying to say is that they are jumping to conclusions sooner than, what is necessary.
Well,
they will emerge as the largest party, and I wish, from a country's perspective, that,
Mr. Patel, no jumping to conclusions.
There should be a government which is stable. I don't want to see my country having an unstable government.
That's a given, Mr. Patel. Now, come on, Mr. Patel. I think, you're a seasoned politician, and I'm not a greenhorn in journalism either. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Patel, that you have said, you have told our one of our news editors, Meetu Jain, when you met her today, you said that call it the exit polls or the opinion polls, the general overall view is the BJP will emerge very strongly as the single largest party. The only question is whether they do this on their own or whether they need some allies, right? And then you said it's good and stable government.
Absolutely. That's exactly
So
what
therefore,
I said in the beginning.
So is that a way of saying that if required, the NCP will support the BJP? Or will consider it? You know the context in which these things happen.
Please.
Now, it's a mischievous smile you've got.
I have only stated the obvious. I have said,
obvious?
Even in the earlier interview to Meetu Jain, that I can speak for the NCP. We are a Congress ally. We have been in the UPA. We do not want to get into this game of conjecturing what we're going to do.
Why are you not telling me firmly? Why aren't you telling me firmly? Why aren't you being firm today? Why aren't you being firm? Sankarshan, one second. Sankarshan is a question.
We have fought the elections against the BJP. We are part of the UPA. Isn't that a clear answer enough?
We want. No, 1 second. Two journalists want greater clarity out there. Sankarshan Thakur first.
Listen, Arnab. I do not want to answer for the sake of your convenience. I have said it very clearly.
Answer for the sake of the viewer's convenience. The viewer wants to know. The newser viewer wants to know.
I think.
I am Mr. Patel, may I ask
1 week? I think the viewers have understood my answer much more clearly than you have.
Mr. Patel,
what more do you want to say?
Okay, 2 more minutes. 3 more minutes, 2 more questions. One second. I just want to put this in context. Right? Behind us today on that big screen, smiling, I must say, mischievously is Praful Patel. The fact of the matter is, there is a feeling that
you decide whether it's mischievous.
No, it's a reading. It's a reading, Mr. Patel. It's as much of a reading, Mr. Patel, as you're saying I want to put words in your mouth. I am only saying one thing, that is it possible that parties like the NCP might keep their options open? That's all. Which party? Quiz question. Which party said no Snoopgate inquiry? Praful Patel's party.
Just
Who
1
did that
week.
benefit?
Yes,
Just
of course,
one-
I still believe that. And
Sankarshan is asking a question.
Mr. Patel, it's a very simple question
Listen,
I want
when I
to
talk
ask
of a
you.
stable government for the country, I do not need anybody to tell me whether my
All this
country needs a
rhetoric about a
or
stable
not.
government.
I do not need to be advised by anybody. What I feel is the right.
Okay, two
I
more
only
questions.
want to ask you
My
a
government
question.
to do.
There is no advice
And
here.
those issues, how to handle, you leave it best to us.
We'll leave it to you. Two more questions. Yes.
I am only asking from what you said, don't conjecture where. I mean, you are a minister in a UPA government which has not yet given up office, and you
Not
are
yet.
not saying there is no question of us joining the opposite
Yeah,
formation.
he's not saying that.
You are not saying that. You're talking about don't conjecture about what we will do, which is a very iffy, shifty kind of position.
No, but why are you putting? Why are you deciding for us?
No, I'm not deciding.
what we would
I'm
like to
asking
do?
of you,
I
Mr.
have said
Patel.
very
I'm not
clearly.
deciding
We have
at all.
fought against the NDA.
You're getting my
we have
sense
fought
wrong,
against the
sir.
BJP. We are part of the UPA. We have fought with the Congress.
That's
But you also
President
like to be
Universe.
part of any ruling
I don't
arrangement.
think you need me to
No,
answer
that's-
anything.
I find this stable
Okay,
government
one second.
argument very, very
They also-
easy.
Rephrase it.
And neither are we hankering for power or position.
All right,
No, but you can't survive
Dilip
that.
Padgaonkar. I'm coming. Dilip Padgaonkar. Rephrase.
Praful, Mamata Banerjee has said never we should
Yes.
go along with the
BJP.
NDA.
Yeah.
Mayawati has said much the same thing. You are a partner of the Congress in Maharashtra. Will you say never is indeed never of joining up with NDA to give
You're
a...
far too seasoned a journalist, and I
don't want
have
him
a
to
high
answer?
regard for you.
No, but that's quite beside the point. The question is...
Let him reply.
As clearly as I have done. I think I have put it in absolutely very clear crystal terms. When one has fought against the NDA and the BJP, why are you adding any more sensation? The only way you want to ask me questions and you want me to reply in the language of Mamata Didi, well, fine. Mamata Didi has her own way of communication. I have my own way of communicating. I don't need to be told in absolute clear terms as to what my own position. I have spelled it out.
No, you are.
And I don't. That's why I said, please don't conjecture on my behalf.
No, I won't. But you know,
Mr.
you are.
Modi
I think you are with the.
untouchable?
You are heading the
And as I
football.
said,
You are heading the
I-
football federation. Let me give you a football analogy. Let me give you a football analogy. I thought you came as an aggressive midfielder, but you are looking like a nervous goalie. Saving a penalty shot from some ace. One
Not
question
at all.
Is
from
Mr.
Navika
Modi-
Kumar. Navika.
No.
Mr. Praful Patel, never say never. That seems to be your reply. But just, is it a coincidence that 1 week before the results came out, let me ask my question. 1 week before the results came out, there was a phone call, a very important phone call from London, which came to the Prime Minister at 7 RCR and said that as alliance partners, we are advising you not to go into Snoopgate and go after Narendra Modi. Just 1 week before results. Now, isn't that positioning? Because it's the same Mr. Sharad Pawar who's earlier said, don't go after Modi after
quickly,
the courts
one
have
reply.
given him a clean chit.
There's a pattern there.
And he himself said it. Even Praful said the same thing.
We firmly believe that it was not necessary to initiate any new commission of inquiry at such a late stage, because you see, in politics there's also a question of perception. The perception that the government is after a political entity just on the verge of the election results being announced would not be looked upon, very well or favorably by the people. Number one. If you're questioning me, how come National Conference, how come Kamal all voiced the same concerns as we did?
Answer
Now,
is
does
simple.
everybody have a pattern?
Answer
The
is
same way
simple.
as we have, as you are
Answer is
alluding?
simple.
You
I
answered
don't think this is true.
You answered it, Mr. Praful Patel. Perception.
I've
It's all
answered it,
about
yes.
perception. And
Yes.
perception is that you're not
Of
saying
course
a
it
very
is perception.
strong no to the NDA. That's the perception.
At least not tonight.
Well,
At least not tonight.
I don't need a certificate
Can
from
we ask
you.
him another
Okay.
All I'm trying to say is, I've made my position very clear. We are part of the UPA. We continue to be part of the
Is
UPA.
Mr.
Yes,
Modi
okay.
untouchable?
One second. One more thing. One more thing I'd like to add. We are with the UPA. We continue to be part of the UPA. Maybe for the next 2 weeks. Praful Patel,
Well,
I thank you.
well,
I thank you. Well.
Don't-
Praful Patel, I thank you for being my first.
I take it in the right spirit. If Arnab Goswami will not put these kind of questions, who will? So I'm quite okay with that. But I'm sure whoever heard me has heard me loud and clear.
Praful Patel, thank you very much. I'm glad you're smiling. I like those smiles. I like people laughing before the election results. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Praful Patel.
heard loud and
now
clear.
let me say one.
He's
The more things
blushing.
change, the more things stay the same. And one thing which does not change is there are often very many parties in Delhi which are waiting for having a slice of power. Is the NCP one of them?
Certainly.
We'll have to see. I have a few questions before we go to our first debate, which is about whether, with these numbers, the fear factor over Modi will subside or will grow. The fear factor of his cynics, people who question him, and people like Vinod Mehta, for example, who say Mr. Modi needs to be kept on a leash. My first question, and I have 7 today on this Super Prime Time, is can the NDA touch 292 seats? And I'm not being cynical. Can the NDA touch 292 seats in 2014?
Yes.
Which is the highest since Vajpayee post-Kargil phase when it managed 299. I'm looking at historically. Post-Kargil 299, it was a very different alliance, a bigger alliance. 299. 2014, I put a question mark here. Can you reach that figure? And at that time, Jay, there were other parties.
Absolutely. There were other parties.
Just list the parties.
There were
Come
about 23 parties in the alliance with the NDA in 1999.
Right, come here.
Yeah. This time round, the BJP has listed a lot of parties. 28 to be the number, but actually not more than 13 of them are really active parties which can win a seat.
Okay,
so it's a smaller alliance.
My second question is, and to all our viewers, this also is relevant, can the NDA cross the 300 mark to make it the best ever performance since formation of the party? 1999, and the fact will come on the screen. 1999, 299.
299.
2014, can you cross 300? Quick perspective from you on that, and then we'll move on.
Absolutely. Arnab, this time really what might hinder the NDA is surely the lesser number of allies. I think in 1999 there are a lot of allies to accelerate the alliance tally, which is not the case this time.
Okay.
This time most of the votes are coming from the BJP's own strongholds, not from alliances.
Okay, and our panelists joining us in just a minute. I want to put one last question. With 35.9% vote share in 2004, NDA won how many seats?
189.
Only 189.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you win 280 to 306 seats if you get a projected vote share that is 0.16 more of 36.09?
Yes, you can.
Mathematics. No, you can. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Sunil Alak says yes, you can. Mathematics is on your screen. 2004, 189 with 35.49% of the vote. The situation politically is different now.
Arnab, it was a case of 2000 was a case of poorly stitched alliances. This time it's a case of well-stitched alliances, and this time it's also a case of making the most of the first past the post system in critical states like UP and Bihar.
So we're asking these questions because we're looking at how high, from a certain base, how high can you go?
Absolutely.
What is your vote share to seat share comparison?
Absolutely.
How much can you gain? I'd like to welcome Kamal Faruqui, Vinod Mehta for joining us right now, and of course our panelists there with us, Navika, Meghnad Desai, Sabha, Sunil Alak, Dilip Padgaonkar, Sankarshan Thakur. Let's start with Vinod Mehta. You wanted a comment on those questions. And joining us now, Piyush Goyal. Piyush Goyal, Rajya Sabha member of the BJP, one of the key people handling the campaign, treasurer of the party, Sanjay Jha, Congress party spokesperson, Gaurav Bhatia, spokesperson for the Samajwadi party, Pavan Verma. And thank you for joining me of the JDU. What are we debating today? The world of possibilities, ladies and gentlemen. With a caveat that no exit poll can get it ever perfectly right. I ask a few very basic questions. Our theme for debate right now is the fear factor. The question is, there has been an attempt to build a fear factor, right, around Mr. Modi. Will that change? Vinod Mehta.
Arnab, if your figure of 250 seats for the BJP is right, then that means that this is a victory for Narendra Modi and not a victory for the BJP, or more a victory for Narendra Modi and less a victory for the BJP.
Yeah.
Second, it makes Narendra Modi an awesomely powerful prime minister. He is awesome. And we must have to
Is that
raise...
good or bad?
Well, that awesomely powerful Prime Minister, can we be sure that the bad habits of Gujarat when he was a Chief Minister of Gujarat will not be transferred to Delhi?
Okay.
Come on.
1 minute, but can I explain this? Because it sounds very... Will there be an inclusive team?
What's it? Okay, let him finish his point. Piyush is laughing there. We'll get everyone in. We have time.
Yeah, sure.
We have time tonight.
I mean, the question, I have said that Mr. Modi will become possibly the most powerful Prime Minister since Jawaharlal Nehru.
You seem worried about that.
Well, I'm worried about that because there's a good side and a bad side.